Hello and welcome to In the Court of the Wenton King. We're doing a thing. What are we doing thing?
We're reviewing a Rainbow live performance from 1979, another bootleg in New York.
That's not funny, but it will be fun. Yes, hello and welcome. We've had some letters. This is the letters segment of the show.
The mailbag.
It's bursting.
Yeah, we've had lots of comments on our videos and we thought we'd share a few with you in case you haven't sort of caught up with them. And the first one was way back in the beginning, Presents, episode 8. We've got this guy, Runstead13, and he particularly liked our review.
At Presents.
Yeah, and he says, to quote, "Who are you to criticise this album? A couple of silly nobodies, 14 minutes wasted of my life."
So thanks for that. That's great.
Yeah.
It's uplifting stuff to know that there's people out there who love us so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It really spurs us on, it does. Rochelle Tregear, whose picture is Michael Jackson, little avatar thing, watched all of our Michael Jackson reviews, which, I think we had a pretty good stab at last Christmas.
Yeah.
This is back in episode 17.
Well, we're experts on Michael Jackson particularly.
Yeah.
It's our speciality.
Yeah, and he/she, I'm sorry I don't understand the gender from the name, but it says, you guys, especially him on the left, don't know a bang thing about MJ and what he stood for musically.
Well, you're on the left, surely, so must be you.
Must be me. Luckily, they managed to stick with the reviews and they stuck with us through to Dangerous, and they had this to say: "This is a terrible review, if I can call it a review, which I already did, but I can't."
That's moving stuff. We were moved. It brought a tear to my eye.
Thanks very much for that, Rochelle. And a more recent one is during our Genesis reviews.
Genesis.
Samuel Bugasia, who I assume's man, we share a name, so obviously there's a bit of affinity between us. He says, "You guys are a bunch of clowns. The only word to describe Madman Moon is nice?" ?
We loved that. It was lovely. Thank you.
Yeah. So thanks for that, Samuel.
Yeah.
And that's inspired us. This is actually my copy of A Trick of the Tail that I bought specifically for that review.
Yeah. And we were so inspired by that feedback.
Yeah. That I'm going to give it away. So we're going to have a little competition for all our fans, and what I'm going to do, we're going to put my little Twitter address down here, and what I want is your review of Madman Moon. In a couple of weeks we'll have a look at the best ones that have come through, and we'll choose a winner, and where you live, because obviously postage will be a factor on who we give this to, and we will announce it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, this is a genuine competition.
Yeah.
Just to clarify.
I'm particularly keen on hearing from people who've never listened to Madman Moon.
Yeah,
or
their
Trick
reviews
of the
count the most.
Yeah. So good luck with that, and we'll announce that in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the mailbag for this week. Please keep sending the messages in so we can keep doing this.
So yeah, Rainbow 79. This is the show from 79. We've chosen this because it's a transitional period. We didn't want to just do the album because that's a bit dull. It is very transitional because obviously classic Rainbow is your cozy pal Richie Blackmore, the other guy. Dio, yeah, Ronnie James Dio, yeah, with the sort of core players in this great band that did 3 albums, very influential, obviously with neoclassical metal, but also, I don't know what they call it, is it power metal or whatever, like Dragon Force and Nightwish and that kind of stuff, which is interestingly very, very intense music. Rainbow is not that at all. The first Rainbow album is probably the softest metal album you've ever heard. It really is. So very, very influential, wonderful stuff, incredibly European. In the wake of Richie Blackmore's divorce, they didn't make enough money, so they had to change. So he sacked the current bass player, which I think was Bob Daisley, and got Roger Glover back, which he tapped from Deep Purple, because of Roger's pop sensibility. He wanted someone with a pop sensibility. He realised he needed to go back and have a single again. And Roger went to Dio and said, "Can you write love songs, please?" So Dio said no. So Dio was sacked. That's the end of that. That's that then. And they got this guy Graham Bonnet, who doesn't have the range of Dio, but he does sort of bridge the gap across the Atlantic, if you like. He's got that European sensibility and very, very good diction, and you can hear what he's saying. And he doesn't go, "Oh baby," or anything like that. But he's influenced by R&B and soul and things like that. So that's you can hear that in his voice. Whilst he can't sing like Dio, he reaches all the notes. It sounds like he's tearing his voice to pieces, screaming, but he does. So fair play. He continued to sing like that for at least 20 years. So more commercial sound. The other reason it's transitional is they were going in a sort of AOR direction. So this album is probably unfairly thought of as the sellout album, but they didn't really sell out until later, and the next guy they got in couldn't sing the Dio stuff, and he actually had to sing them differently. So it was a whole different thing, and it was very much an American style. They kept the neoclassical leanings were in there, but not in terms of vocal melodies, they were not that anymore. And it is also transitional because of Ritchie Blackmore's playing. Whatever happened, I don't know what happened, but if you listen to Blackmore in 76 compared with Blackmore in 82, something had gone wrong. I don't get what happened. It's like between the 31st of December 1980 to the 31st of December 89, he forgot how to play. Some would argue with this, obviously, but I think his sound just went horrible. He went from this fantastic, the best tone in the world to horrible sounds. So this is this is an important point in that he's still playing well. It's noisy and stuff, but he's still playing well, and that's cool. And that's another reason why you want a live performance. Sadly, the sound on this wasn't as good as I remembered. It is an FM radio transmission. It's not from the masters. It's from a transmission. You can tell, very tinny, no bass to speak of at all. But it's listenable. It has energy.
Yeah, I think it's eminently listenable. Actually, I was quite impressed by the sound of it. It really Rainbow, Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin. They're different from Pink Floyd in the sense that you're going along for trying to transmit the excitement of the music over to you. Going to Pink Floyd concerts is a slightly different experience.
Yeah.
I think it's slightly more introspective,
yeah.
Whereas this kind of music, it's very exciting and fast, and it gets everyone pumping to the same sort of beat. Pink Floyd's more a self-reflection thing. You're not really part of a massive group.
Jumping around, yeah. It's not
so at a Rainbow concert, it would be more acceptable to set fireworks off, and wouldn't be quite so controversial.
Yeah, and there would have been a mosh pit, although they probably wouldn't have been quite as violent as they've become, but there would have been a mosh pit at a Rainbow concert. Mm-hmm. And it was 1980 where they headlined the first Donington.
The Animals bootleg. And the interesting part for me there is to sort of judge what's going on in Roger Waters' mind, because the sound's not great, you're not getting the visuals, so you're missing the effect. The interesting thing is sort of where people are in the band and what's going on. Is David Gilmour just walking off into the crowd? Is Roger Waters spitting on people? And it's interesting from that point of view. Now, Ritchie Blackmore is a similar sort of character to Roger Waters in that he's got a bit of a reputation of being a bit awkward. Obviously very, very talented and a very good guitarist, and that doesn't come through on the bootleg at all. You start listening to it and it's just a good rock concert. You get that sense of how exciting and how good these type of live concerts were. It surprised me a little bit because I'm not a big Rainbow fan, and it's sort of, I think there's a sort of a reflex, if you like Deep Purple, to sort of reject Rainbow. Yeah. Because it's a sort of it's trying to undermine Deep Purple. Yeah. And I definitely got that feeling from it, but actually it's as good as Deep Purple, really. It's sort of very exciting. Yeah, I mean, I think this period is particularly like that. One of the reasons is Don Airey, the new keyboard player, who actually ended up in Deep Purple, he's now in Deep Purple, is much less of the sort of Wakeman-y, which was Tony Carey's thing in the 70s, and much more like John Lord. I mean, Ritchie Blackmore said he was the closest he got to getting someone like John Lord, which is all he wanted, actually. So this is the closest thing to Purple, in that it's riffy and commercial. You can see how they're moving towards the 80s. There is less jamming and little noodling about and all that stuff. It's generally kept to one track, but a lot of those things in the early stuff are still there, so that's very cool. It's interesting to say that now, I don't know about the album, but certainly the concert, people would call that prog now, but at the time this was the simple stuff. This isn't UK and whatever was going on in 79 or Jethro Tull or what. But of course things are so much simpler now. All of this stuff gets called prog. Thanks, Metallica. That's your fault. Okay, first song is Eyes of the World. I think this is a real epic Rainbow classic. I don't think the album version is a particularly good version of it, and it's a massive shame there isn't an official live version, because it opened the show and it was a big, epic opener, which is really cool. Great vocals. The keyboard's non-existent in the mix, sadly, so you can't hear it. When the band comes in, all you can hear is the guitar, and not the cool keyboards, sadly, but it's a good performance. Yeah, nice. Right, next song. Love's No Friend. Love's No Friend. This replaced Mistreated as the second track, obviously, because Mistreated went way back to when he was still in Purple, so obviously they wanted a new bluesy song. And it fits the bill in that it's more commercial, and they tacked on the end of it, the end of Mistreated, actually. The fast bit at the end isn't on Love's No Friend, actually. That fast bit is from Mistreated. So that's very cool. Yeah. Some cool playing, etc., etc. It's nice. I like Mistreated better. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but it's kind of 80s version of Mistreated. Okay. Since You've Been Gone. Controversial. Written by Russ Ballard. They didn't write it. It wasn't only written by Russ Ballard. It was also covered by other people as well over the years, by obscure girl bands and things like this. And supposedly
it had been decided they were going to do this song, and the manager said to Cozy Powell, "Right, listen, have a listen to this song." He says, "Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good song." And he goes, "We're going to do it for Rainbow." And he's like, "What?" You can imagine the response of the, you know, they've just done Long Live Rock and Roll, they've done Stargazer and Light in the Black and Gates of Babylon and stuff like this, and now they're going to do Since You've Been Gone. And he actually said, "Okay, I'll do it, but I'll only do it once," which wasn't true because he did it for the whole tour, but he did leave at the end of the tour. So his last show was Donington.
It's their Smoke on the Water, really, isn't it? So it's sort of put it to the side.
Yeah. But we get a little bit of Brandenburg Concerto No. 3, third movement, which they've been playing for a while actually.
Again, that's another Deep Purple thing, because Deep Purple were into the big classical renditions, weren't they?
Yeah.
To start with, and it started annoying because there's a little bit later on you get a bit of the 1812 overture, and you think, what are you doing? Why not just stick with Deep Purple? Like,
it is interesting that was originally it was John Lord was the neoclassical person, and he did full on, you know, a concerto. But Rainbow, as it turned out, were neoclassical, or, you know, Batman called it medieval rock. And it's all there in the melodies and everything as well. But the little references to all these little bits of music have always been there. And it is weird. It is a strange idea, really, when you think about it, isn't it? Because it's very, very simple music interspersed with this classic stuff.
I like it. That nice little, ooh, I know that, going on. I suppose that's what makes it a little bit proggy.
Yeah, and obviously it's not on the album. The album is the pop version. It should be on the album.
Which is why you should listen to this bootleg. All night long, next track.
This is the only track I think is better on the album. Actually, I think the album version of this is perfect. For whatever reason, less so live. It sounds like a false start where it goes wrong, but it doesn't go wrong. That's actually like a tease or something. I don't know. But he did that in every concert. I don't know why. It sounds terrible. I don't think it comes across well live. You've got the vocal solo, because everyone has to have a solo. But obviously, you can see how we're going into the 80s now, because the vocal solo is a get the audience to sing along thing, which is the 80s version. But compare that to David Coverdale's solos. Stuff. Good.
I agree.
Graham Bonnet was quite fine, really, in that he's got that strange poppiness, but he's got that incredible range, and he's pushing his voice up there, and he can sing all this Dio stuff and whatever. You know, apparently they found him. It was Cozy Powell had this game, playing tapes of bands game. You played a second of it, and you have to try and guess what it was. And this guy was on one of these tapes. That's All Night Long.
All Night Long.
Yeah, that's written by Lionel Richie. Obviously.
Yeah. Lost in Hollywood.
Lost in Hollywood. This is the big epic at the end of the album, which is actually very similar to Light in the Black, which was on Rising. The big epic. We start with some keyboards, a bit of Bach. It's not the keyboard solo though, that's the keyboard intro, because the keyboard solo is later. Then they play Lost in Hollywood. Then we have guitar solo, obviously, which is part of Lost in Hollywood. Then we have the keyboard solo, the actual keyboard solo. Sadly, this version doesn't have Don Airey's stuff on. I don't know if he'd not started playing it by then, but there's no Close Encounters, which he used to do. And Star Wars as well, which he used to do, so they're not. I don't know why.
That's not very fun.
Yeah, so it's just some keyboards.
Yeah.
Then we have the drum solo. Cozy Powell's drum solos are much like anyone else's drum solos, mostly, certainly from the 80s. In that it's incredibly boring until we get to the 1812 overture, obviously, which is a famous thing. That wasn't released on an album for years and years.
That's important as well, because actually it gets pretty boring. And the drum solo is not massively inspiring. And then the 1812 thing comes in, and and it really picks it back up. So it is quite important, actually.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, because we're not drummers, we'd rather he just did the 1812 bit and not the other bits.
Yeah.
Then, of course, we have what is called Difficult to Cure, although this is an early version of it, the Beethoven's Ninth thing. This is the loud, heavy version, rather than the silly, slidey version. And there's an edit, but it seems, I think, as far as I can tell, from all the shows I've listened to, it's only a few seconds long where it goes into the little bit. But other than that, it's cool. And then they go back into Lost in Hollywood again, and it finishes. 25 minutes of soloing and stuff.
Very, very rock and roll. Next track.
Man
on the Silver Mountain.
Yeah, Man on the Silver Mountain. Dio song. We are actually. There's a couple of songs not in the set yet. I don't know if they didn't play them until later. I think that's the impression I get. I haven't heard any shows from '79 where they play Catch the Rainbow, which they did play in 1980. It was the same as the Dio version, extended version. And they also played Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, which is better than you would think. It's actually really good. Graham Bonnet and Kill the King as well is missing, which was the encore. Well, it wasn't really Kill the King, it was just the riff from Kill the King with Blackmore smashing up the guitar.
Nice.
This is Man on the Silver Mountain. Very impressed with the vocals. He tears through it. Obviously we get the obligatory bit of guitar solo faffing, and then a little bit of lazy at the start. We don't get the improvisation in the middle of it though. It just ends normal.
Very nice. Next track.
Next track.
Long Live Rock and Roll.
Long Live Rock and Roll. And again, it's it's supposed to be a classic Dio song. It's just never. I've never got Long Live Rock and Roll. I don't know why. Being such a big Rainbow fan, very strange, but it's never appealed to me personally. This one, obviously, Graham Bonnet could reach all those notes Dio reached, so it's still in G. Jolene Turner, the following singer, they had to put it down to E to play it. Man on the Silver Mountain, which is in G, they had to put down to D. So it's a completely different song with Jolene Turner. Very strange. And then the album ends.
Yeah, that's the end of the concert.
So
mostly nice.
Mostly nice.
Yeah.
Any last words on the album that you think of it? Was it listenable?
Yeah, it was actually. I was quite impressed.
They need a live album from that era, don't they?
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's one or two tracks.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, as far as bootlegs go, this is a bootleg worth listening to. Whereas the Pink Floyd stuff, as I say, it's a curiosity more than a sit down listening to music experience.
You mean because of the sound?
Whereas this is a sit down listening to music experience. It is pretty thin and all that. Enough of it comes across.
Yeah, that's because it's loud and riffy and
yeah,
that's cool.
I was quite impressed actually. I was quite surprised. So yeah, I think this is one of the better bootlegs we've done actually.
That's interesting. There you go. Okay, right. This is my new rating system. Batteries. So I think this is one of them.
Yeah, I'd say a D.
It's a good bootleg. It's a great bootleg.
That's a plus C, that is.
Thank you very much for watching. We regret to inform you we will be out for 2 weeks. Unfortunately, it's unavoidable. We wouldn't stop unless we had to. So we will see you in 2 weeks. We hope so. Keep with us and see you soon. Have a good summer.
Give us some likes and some interesting comments.